Hi. So, um, if you want to learn more about techniques designed to induce madness in someone, to induce any type of panicking behavior, or to induce fear, then stay tuned and watch this video. Um, I wrote about moths in my book for children. I wrote about moths, and then I had a bunch of moths in my room that I was renting, and I also had holes in my socks and in some of my favorite clothes too. I got a coat from my mother, and when only I went to work in it, I lost a button, and that was a coat that had two buttons only. And I found, for example, two big leggings that I threw away many years ago when I was fatter. And I found them in my family flat in the wardrobe. So I was surprised. I also found books that I know I didn't borrow from my sister, and I had to give her back the book that actually I didn't ask for. You know, I was saving the money, and as I was saving the money and writing down the costs and changing that douche gel into the soap, then, because the soap is cheaper, and I wrote it down, I saw it that, oh, here is where automatically I chose something and I could have chosen better. So, as I was starting to pay attention to that, then my shampoo and my dish soap were running low very quickly, as if somebody wanted to undo all my efforts. A few pages from my diaries were missing. Some affirmations, my notes for the book were missing. I started to do my own tarot cards because for a moment I thought that when you develop your extrasensory perception, then you have to learn to read tarot, and this is what helps. But I was wrong. Um, And during that time, I had a period when I even kept the tarot cards under my bed. So, um, tarot cards exchange information with some, I mean, not tarot cards, but sorry, gypsy cards. I kept gypsy cards under my bed, and I use them quite so often, just reading black and red cards. So, yes, no questions. But you have to know is that gypsy cards and tarot cards exchange information with other cards. So, well, it's up to you if you want to sleep with tarot cards under your bed or not. But probably it's best to keep them in the drawer, as my fortune teller finally told me. Um, So I started to learn a bit about reading tarot, and I started to do my own tarot cards, and I managed to do the cards regarding pentacles, and that set of my handmade tarot cards was gone too, and I was like, oh, but you have to keep all of them in a set. There can't be even one missing. So yeah, I got scared. And when visiting my friend, I took care of her children, and we told stories about. The boy would tell me repeatedly the same story about the cock, the rooster, that had done a trick on its wife, and half of the bed was missing. He cut half of the bed of his mom, and. And then when I slept on my mattress on my bed, then half of the mattress would go just down, and it turned out that the desks in it were moved to the side, but before I detected that they were just moved and not removed, then it took me a few nights of going down on the bed. Walls in my room also got dirty without me knowing how. And I also got scared because, it was connected with the costs for the damages. But I was lucky when leaving the room, I was able to wash the walls and leave them clean with no extra painting. Um, that was the period for me when I was learning about occultism, and I wanted to know more, and I wanted to, learn anything. Um, because there are a lot of sciences that are interconnected here. So for weeks, sometimes for weeks, we didn't have any internet, and I lived with students and one person who was in a high school. So I was really pondering on the fact that nobody cared to, keep on reminding the landlords that we had no internet. And then inductive stove, somebody just left it. It was me and only Kuba on the flat, in the flat, and inductive stove was just left on its own. It was on, and he went to take a bath, and I've noticed it, and I turned it off. But the truth is, he never cooked. I never saw him cooking, and there are only two of us in the flat. Uh, Somebody left some, broken glass in the corridor, and I stepped on it, but it was fine. Um, and then when only I thought about the light switcher, that people use the light switcher, and not every one of us washes their hands when they leave the bathroom. So then one of my flatmates just, I could hear I could hear flashing the toilet, and then she was looking at me and touching the light switcher. And she was actually quite pleased with herself. And then I read in Jerzy Ficowski's book about the gypsy that they use your DNA, that they use your nails, your hair. And I started to keep my nails, I started to throw away my nails in the toilet, but one time I forgot, and then my nails were gone. And or having thoughts that somebody added something to my water, then I could see water supply men in front of the building. I read about shoes, and then in Ficowski's book, I also read that the gypsy use shoes in their magical practices, and someone just took away my old, dirty, and actually, sorry to say, stinky shoes. I don't know what for, but the only reason that comes to mind right away is to just scare me and to react in accordance with my thoughts, so that I would think, oh, I thought something, and then it happened. But not all of my thoughts are mine. And during that time, that was a time when walking in the streets, my leg would go to the side very, very often. And I already experienced some, when I suspected back then, many years ago, that I sprained my ankle. Then I went to do the X-ray, and I learned it was just the um, tension, something with muscle tension, the extension of the muscle. Nothing wrong, nothing horrible. Uh, but that was the thing that, with the leg, that it would go to the side very often. I believe to scare me too. But this is something physical, and here's the question: how do you make somebody go to the side all the time when they walk? um, And as at work, we had this rotation of employees, and the team was changing all the time, and new people were employed all the time. And there were a lot of people as our customers. Then in my flat, my flatmates actually started to have their boyfriends for the night. One of them used to have her boyfriend for the night since the very beginning, but the other one was just in a high school, and all of a sudden his girlfriend started to come for the nights too. and they would listen to something I would call as a hypnotizing beat. I mean, that was music with no words, no melody, just with some rhythm. And it would go on like that for the entire night. Um, yeah. And there was a math center right next door to our flat, and that center all of a sudden became more active when I started to have many more people, around me. And during that year, I yet again changed the place of living 3 times, and in my very first flat, I had a neighbor who had a gypsy look, and in my third place of living, the same neighbor moved in, and I was shocked. Um, and my Christmas tree, for example, I got from my friend. She made it of chestnuts. It started to be covered with mold. Okay, so if you want to learn more about, some confusing techniques designed to induce madness, designed to induce fear, then please drop me a line at lkinga788@gmail.com, and I will send you my PDF version of my book Piglet. It's a book about symbolism, hypnosis, gypsy magic, Jewish people. So please drop me a line. And if you want to buy my book, my course, Amelia, it's a course designed for victims of sexual abuse and abusers too. And it's about mind games, mind control, and it's about manipulation and covert hypnosis too. So if you're curious about it, if you want to learn more about it, if you want to buy it, click the link below, and you will find the information in the description of the video. You will find the information on my website and my Instagram account. So if you like this video, please hit the like button. If you like this video, please share it with other people too. And thanks for watching.